And as always, Sejal has set the tone. And I would say she's more like a torch bearer for us. She sets the tone and we follow it up. Right. So, yes, vulnerability. We are usually afraid of it. Right. And yes, sometimes we can say it's really, really very scary. But actually, I can definitely promise you people that it's pretty amazing. The power of being vulnerable. And when I say vulnerable, what comes to mind? Maybe you think about feeling weak or exposed. And actually, that's what people think. But what if I told you that being vulnerable is actually one of the bravest, strongest things you can do? Isn't it? But maybe you still have doubts. So let's first understand, what does vulnerability really mean? Now, let's start simple. It doesn't mean being weak. It means being brave enough to show your true self to others. Imagine playing dodgeball. When you're hiding behind others, sure, you might not get hit, but also you're not really playing the game. So, being vulnerable is stepping out in the open field. You might get hit, but you are fully in the game, feeling all the excitement, isn't it? So, when we talk about a real life, vulnerability is when you raise your hand even when you're not 100% sure of the answer. And I'm sure Usha ji must have seen many students doing the same. That students are very hesitant of putting questions. Then telling a friend that you're feeling sad instead of pretending everything is fine. And it's like, you know, engraved in our mannerism when somebody asks you, how are you? And we coolly say, oh, I'm fine, even though the truth is different. Or trying something new, even when you might not be good at it right away. Or even if as simple as saying, I'm sorry. I've said simple, but definitely saying sorry needs courage after you have done a mistake. So let me tell you a quick story. Some time back, my dog was really sick. I was so sad that I went to work, put on a fake smile, and told everyone like I was fine. And you know what happened? I felt even more lonely, tired from pretending, sad with them. But then one day, a co-worker asked me how I was doing. I just happened to tell the truth. That actually my dog is sick, really worried. And you know what? Three more people shared stories about their pets too. And all of a sudden, I wasn't lonely. We connected in a way we never had done before. So, when we hide our true feelings, it's like we are building a wall around us. People can see the wall, but they can't see us. And that's lonely. And you know, there's an equation actually associated with it. Like being open, that is being open to all, to the world, is actually equal to being real. And that in turn is equal to being powerful. Think about your favorite characters in movies or books. Are they perfect? No way. Life is not perfect. So, if those characters resemble the real life, of course they are not perfect, but we love them because they have their flaws, their struggles, and just like us. I'm sure most of you must have watched Harry Potter movies. So, when Harry Potter feels scared or confused, we don't think he's weak, we connect with him more. And that's why that character is so famous all over the world. So, real power actually comes from being authentic. It's like having a superpower that says, "This is me, take it or leave it." And when you are real with others, something magical happens. They feel safe to be real with you. So you build that connection, you build that bond when you are real and authentic. Let me give you another example. One of my friends was always trying to look perfect in school. So I'm talking about my school days. Perfect hair, perfect grades, perfect life. And she had many people who wanted to be around her, but very few real friends. So one day, she forgot to study for a big test and got a C. Of course, she was so embarrassed. But instead of hiding her embarrassment, she actually told the truth. She shared it with her friends. She messed up because she stayed up late. She was helping her little brother. And so, and you know what happened? Her friends didn't laugh at her. They started sharing their own struggles. Because, of course, not everyone had scored well. But even those who had scored well have had their bad days earlier. So they felt free, open to share what they were feeling. And I would say that was the first time she felt truly connected with her friends. There's this really cool researcher named Brené Brown who studied vulnerability for years. She found out something surprising that the people who feel the most connected and happy are the ones who have the courage to be imperfect. And that's why we say we shouldn't, you know, chase perfection. Enjoy your imperfections. She says that being vulnerable isn't comfortable. Yes, it can feel scary sometimes, but it's the birthplace of joy, creativity, and love. And that's a fancy way of saying all the best stuff in life comes after we take the risk to be ourselves. So it's like jumping into a swimming pool, and the hardest part is usually that moment right before you jump, when you're thinking about how cold the water might be. But once you are in, it's usually pretty awesome. But then, how do we practice it? This superpower. So I can say there's some very, very simple ways. When someone asks you, "How are you?" try giving an honest answer. Sometimes instead of just saying, "I'm fine," be real or share your ideas even when you're not sure they are perfect. Maybe you can say, "I'm still figuring this out, but here's what I'm thinking." Or ask for help when you need it. This is actually a big one because people hide this fact from the world that they need help. And believe me, asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually smart. And say, I don't know, when you don't know something. And it's actually pretty refreshing. I'm sure remembering that time when nobody understood the math problem in class. So I'm sure because all of us have been students in school at some point of the... So when teachers used to put up questions and ask us, and we always, hide it that we didn't understand, too afraid to say that. But then somebody would say, yes, ma'am, please repeat. And then gradually many more hands come up and more and more. And finally the teacher understands, okay, this concept needs to be taught again. So that one person's vulnerability actually helped the whole class. Okay, in a moment, I'm actually going to ask you to write down 3 moments when being vulnerable led to something meaningful in your life. Maybe it was when you admitted you were scared on the first day of school, or made a friend who felt the same way, or showed someone a drawing you made even though you weren't sure it was good, or told the truth when you made a mistake instead of making up an excuse. Yes? And then I want you to practice saying this simple but powerful sentence: I feel dash. Now, what you can fill up? You can fill that you are. What is your true feeling? You might say, I feel happy, confused, I feel excited, or even I feel nervous, because we are trying to share our true feelings. And maybe at this time, we are trying to share it by writing on a piece of paper. So you can practice this with someone you trust, or even write it in a journal. The important thing is that you speak the truth. So I want to leave you today with this thought: vulnerability is the bridge that leads to true connection. And without bridges, would all be on our own little islands. But every time you take a brave step to be real, you are building a bridge to someone else, to be connecting with others, with that someone. So, my challenge to you is this week, take one small step forward towards being more vulnerable. Share one true feeling. Ask for help with someone, and be real about your struggle if you're having. It might feel scary for a moment, no doubt about that. But remember, the feeling is just you being brave. Now, the side of the bravery is connection, freedom, and power. So, the real you is actually the best gift you can give to the world. And the world needs exactly who you are and not who you think you should be. So, with that, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I definitely can't wait to hear about the bridges you build in your life. Thank you.